Hello, the One Star Cowboys podcast is back here at the end of May. In fact, we're recording this on May 30th, just so you know. I'm Kevin Turner with John Machota, Saad Youssef, and Kent Garrison. As always, thank you for being here, and thank you for spreading the word if you do that. We really appreciate that. Kind of the silly season, all right? Just kind of getting ready for a couple months off, and then training camp and all that good stuff, but we got to get OTAs going. And I want to start out with a topic that I've been battling a little bit because it's very easy for me to be this way in general. I'm trying to be less cynical as I get older, but it's also very easy because I don't go to the locker room anymore, and you guys are there every single day. But a lot of shoddy buzz over the last week, and it's kind of crazy if you think about the fact that we put out a Schottenheimer, Oppenheimer graphic the day he was hired. Then Luka gets traded 2 weeks later. Kind of the discourse about the Cowboys.
Same week.
Yeah, same week, right? Okay, same week. The details about that not so exhaustive head coaching search feels like, we didn't really hone down in on that too much. I mean, we did, but like in terms of like the general discourse. So am I wrong to be a little cynical about stories that come out this week?
This is a great topic to start with. I got a lot of thoughts on this. I said yesterday in the media workroom, we had a similar conversation like this, and I go, well, now that this is my 15th year covering the team, if I'm only writing stories about things that I genuinely think are interesting, I'm getting 5 stories a year. How do you think my bosses are looking at 5 stories a year? So the whole shoddy thing, I can explain this to people real easy that don't cover a team. What do you think we're going to write about? 1. 2, what's the biggest change of the offseason? The coaching staff. I'm doing a shoddy right there by asking my own question and answering it myself. So aren't you, when you're around it, and here's the other thing, like we don't have the access that we did maybe 15, 20, 30 years ago either. So when you're around it, all you can do is report on what you're seeing. You know what I'm saying? All you can report on is what the players are saying. If there is a more interesting storyline, I will be all over it, but there's really not a lot there. You can write about George Pickens. You can write about them trading for Joe Milton. You can write about the draft class, which is not a really sexy draft class. So at some point, if you're not writing something about what Schottenheimer's doing that's different than the previous head coach, I don't know what you're writing about that people think would be interesting that you'd want to look at. That's where I come from on this.
Yeah, and I think, KT, you called it silly season, and I think that was a good way to put it as well, because, again, tying back to what John is saying as well, we saw yesterday this whole buzz about developmental quarterback Dak and everybody getting all caught up. This is just kind of what this part of the offseason is. I mean, people are just digging for anything, and that is super disingenuous and stupid, to be quite honest with you. But, for us, we're asking players, what's the change, what's happening, and if Schottenheimer comes up, then that's kind of where you go with it. But yeah, I mean, I think that's just kind of the way that things have fallen. It hasn't been anything too much going on. So,
and there's a story I've written about Schottenheimer I haven't included somewhere in the story. Now, I know reading's tough, and people don't want to read the entire article. I know that's not the type of thing we're into nowadays. You just want to read the quick we'll just take one sentence out of the 12 sentences that Schottenheimer said. I get it. I understand where we're at, but I'm just saying, I've also never written a Schottenheimer article where I haven't included it somewhere in there. None of this will matter if they don't win on Sundays. So all I can talk about is what I'm seeing right now. I think you'd be a fool, whether you're talking about Brian Schottenheimer, Marty Schottenheimer, Bill Belichick, Vince Lombardi, if you're talking about anything that today is going to definitively give you wins on Sunday. You're out of your mind. I don't even want to listen to you if you think that there's anything that you've seen definitively today that you're like, yeah, man, dude, when that schedule came out, I was at 8 wins. I'm at 12 now. I was at OTAs the other day. I'm at 12 wins now, easy. When you guys see what happens on Sunday, it's going to blow your guys' mind. I mean, I also love how it's been twisted into where just McCarthy is just a complete buffoon, has no idea what he's doing. Thank God he's out of the building. You won 12 games 3 years in a row. I don't know that you're going to win 12 games this year. So everyone needs to pump the brakes and just thank God he's gone. This will be the answer. Everything's going to be better. I think that there's very selective thinking on that.
Yeah, and also one other quick thing is you can kind of see Schottenheimer realizing that too, because yesterday when he was in his press conference, he even kind of caught himself once, and he was like, "You guys probably just think all we do is eat," because even he knows, like, he's talking about these lunches and dinners that he's going on, and that's what everyone's latching onto because that's all there is to latch onto. And so he even at one point said in the presser, he's like, "You guys just probably think all we do is eat," and so you can tell. Like there's just not a whole because look, I'm not somebody that's gonna stand there at practice and start charting throws at OTAs. It's just I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to do. I'm not saying there's no value to that at all. But there's just if this was the Cowboys drafted a rookie quarterback number 1 overall, absolutely I'd be doing that. I'd be looking at that. I just don't see too much that's coming out of OTA practices, especially the ones that we're seeing.
And honestly, I don't even have a problem if you are charting throws. My thing is just take it within context. There's no pads on. Yes, they're wearing helmets. They're not hitting anybody. There's no contact. Like, that's not football, And that's all they can do right now because that's the way that the league is set. Well, it's not like the Cowboys are doing this OTAs and then the Packers right now, they're in full pads, hitting sleds. They're knocking guys out. They've lost 3 players in the last 2 days. Like, they're not doing it. That's just kind of what it is now in the NFL. But we also get access, and it's the limited time we get access. So we have to report on it. We don't go out there and go, all right, yep, saw it. Nothing to report here. Nothing new. You have to write about it. You have to report about it. That's your job.
I think it's like one of the few problems with the football epidemic. Not that it is a problem really. We're so conditioned to being on all the time, and then when you do get after the draft, and then you do get after the schedule release, and you get here, it's kind of like, okay, what do I need something. It's like 100 days till the season starts, and people start getting, and they need something. And
also,
I feel for y'all. It's your job,
100%. But then there's also this aspect too, is that I know Saad. I think Saad will agree with me on this. When you mix in people that are at some of these OTAs, that maybe that's their first OTA, maybe that's their second OTA, maybe it's their third. I'm just going to put it like this, and you can just read in between the lines all you want. CD's great. Dak's great. George Pickens, great. Like, it's good to watch these guys. Micah Parsons, a lot. In my time covering the Cowboys, I can only imagine how some of these people would react if Des Bryant was in his prime, like I saw him, and the way he was at these practices. Crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? I used to say all the time, even then, I was like, I'm coming here from Detroit. I literally think that in these type of settings, these off-season settings, that I got to see 2 of the best in those settings, and that's Dez and Calvin Johnson. And I'm telling you, these guys, obviously, they're top-notch athletes, they're NFL players, whatever like that. But there's some of that, like, little things happen, and some people think that that's like a big thing, and it's not a big thing, And just use, I hate beating down this name because I use it all the time, but it's the one I always go to. There's the John Vea Johnson factor, where it's like, it's not like, what do you think that's going to do on Sunday? Well, I mean, let's be serious. Like, what do you think? Like, I see him in this practice running on grass, clean, no pads on or anything like that, and it looks great. But that's not what happens on Sundays. And so that's why it's like, I think you have to take everything within you have to have some context to it.
No, I 100% agree. You see all these stories though. Shotty, here's the thing too about Shotty. A lot of people, because McCarthy is the head coach and because Shotty was not the play caller, are still learning about Brian Schottenheimer. And I do think it's kind of hard to go back to Seattle and just, I know exactly about this guy. Here's what Cowboys fans knew, that he'd never been a head coach before. There we go. Those like the big things that jump out, that and that he's Marty's son. Like, those are the big 2 things. So I'm glad we are seeing this and seeing this person. And these are things that you guys have told me over the years. Like, dude, he's really like nice guy, kind of like talkative guy. You remember we did the podcast after his opening press conference, talking about how, like, that's not how he always talks, like how he's up there on the podium, right now. Like, he obviously, when these guys aren't on camera too, they're a little different as well. And so I think it's like good. I think it's fun that we're talking about going and playing paintball. Like, I think that's fine. but I can just feel like I can just feel
paintball. Paintball.
Yeah, you didn't hear about the big paintball trip?
Is it 2003? What are we? I haven't heard about paintball. That's still a thing. Wow.
Yeah, it's making a comeback.
Is it coming back?
I don't know.
It is for the Cowboys.
Sounds like a very Dave Campo. Let's get out and
see. That's what Kent's doing. Is what I'm feeling with the Cowboys fandom, or maybe it's just talking heads. I don't know. I don't even know. But y'all know what I'm talking about, right? That just kind of that bubbling like eye roll. Putting contest. Because we've all
I'm
seen
just
this
laughing
stuff.
at not him taking the team somewhere. Just the fact that it's paintball, because that seems like it was a thing 20 years ago. But he thinks it's super dope to go take the kids out to go shoot some paintball guns. What
would it be now? What should it be now, Ken? What's the thing now? What's today's?
Probably like pickleball or top golf or something.
Pickleball for sure. Croquet's making a comeback.
Just golf in general. Just go play golf.
I'm serious. There's a croquet bar in Fort Worth. Let me say the worst thing he could do.
When is croquet coming back from? When was it in its prime?
I think like the 1800s. The way Shotty could lose me, because he's got me. I'm in. The way he could lose me real quick is by bringing in Oz the Mentalist.
That's
why have like half the league tried that. Or do y'all like that stuff? Am I the big jerk here?
No, I think.
I don't like this.
Yeah, I don't think he will, because I think he's doing things different than his predecessor, kind of on purpose a little bit too.
Yeah.
I mean, even little things like, he sits at the podium as opposed to stand, and I don't think he's like doing that because Mike McCarthy stood. But I'm just saying, like he's kind of paving his own road and paving his own way, kind of. And I feel like he's going to try to just, go from scratch on that. So I don't think those kind of things. But KT, you brought up kind of the Dave Campo, or, John's kind of mentioned before Jason Garrett, in terms of just the personnel, just getting out there and getting people riled, or what am I trying to say? Like rah-rah personality a little bit in the OTA and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But look, this we see it happen. Nick Sirianni, I think, is a good example. Not the same person, but kind of a similar vibe, where if you're on the outside looking in and you're not really trying to buy into what he's selling, you think it's really corny and really weird and dumb, and that's fine. And Sirianni, we all thought that from the opening press conference, but you go out there and you start winning a Super Bowl, everything's fine. Everything, you can do all the corny stuff. You can yell at the fans in Cleveland. All that's fine if you're winning a Super Bowl.
KT, I'll be fine with it. My breaking point will be when they load the team up on buses and go to the local Costco and team up with, I don't know, a father and son and start rating items. When that happens...
What happens when a player loses an eye playing paintball with the coach?
I think they have headgear and goggles. Let me just say, the Rangers' absolute inability to score a run now can be directly correlated to having the Costco guys out to throw the first pitch. You get what you deserve. You can't do that. Okay.
On Memorial Day, too.
The other thing, I would rather in this day and age, do you guys agree? I would rather in this day and age have my players really like the coach than despise him. And I don't know that I would have said 100%. That in 2005, but that's how I feel now.
I think it works. I think it works both ways. You could look at examples of, very player-friendly coaches that have won, and then also not player-friendly. I wouldn't consider Parcells a player-friendly coach. Jimmy Johnson, I don't think people were
when
super
did those
excited.
Guys win?
That's what I mean. They did win. That's what I'm saying. You can probably correlate it on both sides of it. But I'm glad that Saad brought up Sirianni, because I think it is a little bit of Philadelphia just won the Super Bowl. We're coming back. I come into the building and it's not the guy that was there last time. There's a new energy. Everybody's riled up and everybody thinks they have a chance in May. So this is what it is right now.
I absolutely think they have a chance, but it has more to do with, the big move they made and the weakness of the NFC, possibly.
Hey, I can go even take it, break it down even more than that. I got my roster from yesterday at practice on it. I'm even willing to tell you that I'll go on, don't even care at all what happens right now. If you can tell me that this thing is 80, 90% healthier than it was last year. Like, you want to talk about if I'm ranking things that are of importance, tell me if the roster's healthy, and I'll tell you. Like, I think about, like, when I watch out there, watching practice yesterday, and of course, like, the ones go out there, and the starting corners are Andrew Booth is out there, and so people are, concerned about that, and I get that, as you should be. But also, as bad as Andrew Booth or any of those guys looked last year, they also had their starting defensive end rotation miss a combined 40 games. If you tell me that they have Micah Parsons all season, Sam Williams all season, Dante Fowler all season, Marshawn Nealon healthy all season, Donovan Azaraku healthy all season, I'm sure that even the bad corners will probably look solid when there's no time for the quarterback to throw. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if you tell me what the health is, that's more important to me than any paintballing story. But you can't predict that today.
No doubt. And also, to add on one more thing that I think does add into the cynicism is just, I think, the Jones family. I mean, they're the ones who have to wear it the most. Like, you guys know how tough I was on McCarthy, but, like, McCarthy didn't get a fair first year either, with COVID. Like, I don't think McCarthy could go do this. I think if McCarthy brought in Whataburger to every one in the building, it would have been a COVID protocol violation. So he kind of got a bad start to this thing as well. So, but I think Cowboys fans are looking for good things on the field, and we are in May, so we just can't do that for you right now. So I'm sorry.
May I ask John a question, and Saad, who have witnessed it? Have you seen any big stuff out of Pickens? I saw like one photo of him floating. Like, what's he looked like on the field?
Yeah, I mean, he looks the part, certainly. When you see him just running routes and walking around, I mean, he's clearly, the size is legit. Like, it's not like it's one of those roster things where, like, yeah, is he really 6'3", 200 pounds? No, he is really 6'3", 200 pounds. I do see that. But yeah, like yesterday, for example, they get into team drills and PR comes over and tells us that we can't take pictures or anything of it, and so you're just like, they're just being very, like, basic with stuff. Very, so I can't say that George Pickens has been put in a position to make a one-handed Dez Bryant type catch when we've been there. But see, that's the tough part of also during OTAs when we're there, using Joe Milton as an example, is when we saw Joe Milton last week, he threw 2 interceptions, and you're just like, damn, I don't know, man. He really had a rough day. But Schottenheimer talked about how he had some good days last week. So am I supposed to say that OTA week 1 was bad for Joe Milton from the hour we saw? But then when we see him yesterday, he looked a lot better, looked confident in the offense. I think he only had 1 incomplete pass. He had some nice passes down the middle of the field, one to Princeton Fant that probably wouldn't have been a touchdown, but it would have been a huge gain. How he's working with the twos, But Schottenheimer's also telling us yesterday that he had a nice throw to Pickens for a touchdown when he was working with the one. So, but we're not seeing that. We're only seeing that one day that we're out there. And so that's where right now is different from training camp, where you get to see everything at training camp. Right now, we're just getting to see things that are probably about as vanilla as they can be. So I can't say that George Pickens has been put in a position to really give you a Dez Bryant type highlight yet. But him running routes and things like that, yeah, no, absolutely. You can just tell, like, when training camp starts, just what him opposite of CeeDee Lamb is going to be doing to this defense and to whatever defenses they play against. I mean, yeah, because for me, it's not even just what I watch them to. It's about how much attention has to go to those two and what that's going to open up for Turpin and Jake Ferguson, that they're not going to show a lot of that stuff when we're out there right now.
Yeah, and also with Pickens, every time we've asked Schottenheimer about him, he kind of talks about the classroom and how he is in meeting rooms more than, I guess, a little bit on the field, which I think is indicative of just where this point in the offseason is, where I think you're taking more from that. But I think he's had great reviews in terms of what he's doing in the meeting rooms. And then also we have seen him just kind of hanging around the locker room and kind of observing his demeanor and things like that. Yesterday he was sitting with Dak and chatting just, casually with reporters for a good 15-20 minutes. And he I will say this, I was in that circle for most of that, and it's really hard to see the kind of guy that Pittsburgh that's kind of painted out to be in Pittsburgh. Like you don't talk to him and look at him and go, oh yeah, no, I definitely understand that this guy was a problem and going off and this and that and whining.
Wait,
and
but when you
bitching,
say
moaning.
painted though, are you saying by hearsay or a vision, something you actually saw? Because
no, all of it.
Hearsay in Pittsburgh, there was definitely
no, all of it. Yeah, all of it. I'm talking about like the painting that he did himself, even on Sundays, everything. Like I'm talking about, again, because we're not talking about targets and all this stuff. That's stuff that we don't get to see. The stuff that we're seeing right now, just him casually in the locker room and things like that. I mean, he seems pretty, calm and put together and everything. So it'll be interesting to see, even in a training camp setting, how it kind of gets.
I'm kind of curious about, and I know it might be too early to be talking about this stuff, and it might be, he may want to keep some of the stuff under wraps. But do you guys get any vibe of how he wants this offense to function in terms of, are they, teams are different and it's built by how your roster, and sometimes it has to do with what your defense is. McCarthy could say he wanted to run the damn ball, but we all do that. McCarthy was a pass first, play caller. Had been in his entire career. There's a little perception because of his time in Seattle that he really is going to be kind of a run, no one's a run first, but really emphasize that. Do you guys even feel that or have any? I feel like we're kind of got to do some detective work to uncover this, but do you guys have any?
I don't even care about anything that I've seen out there because. Yeah.
Or anything he said,
whatever he's did on those 2 days that really turned his fortune to get that job, because it's clearly he was not going to be the next Cowboys head coach when the season ended. But he obviously showed Jerry, Steven, whoever else was in the room helping make the decision, Will McClay, people like that. He obviously showed that, hey, I got this plan and everything like that, and obviously impressed them. But what of that plan do you think even matters? Because there's no way at that time you're getting George Pickens.
Yeah.
George Pickens is enough of a piece that completely changes a lot of things that you were talking about back in January. And so even whatever his plan was coming into the season, and that's why I even go back to the Russell Wilson thing, I really don't care what happened there. You didn't have, one, Dak Prescott as the passer. You didn't have CeeDee Lamb on one side and George Pickens on the other. This isn't high school where you're like, no, this is Brian Schottenheimer. This is the offense he runs. You guys will just fit into it. No, his offense is about to fit to what his best players are. And so he could have went in totally into this season thinking, yeah, my top 2 receivers are going to be Jalen Tolbert and CeeDee Lamb. We're going to run the ball a lot, whatever. Maybe even thought, hey, we're going to draft a running back high. But the way that the team is currently constructed, I find it very hard to believe that they're going to be just focused on running the football and not passing the ball quite a bit. The biggest thing I will say, just from hearing him talk and just probably what he did to sell the job, obviously, to Jerry as well, because I do think there's a good possibility that if Mike McCarthy is back, that Brian Schottenheimer is still calling the plays. I think that Jerry wanted to make that change because the offense was getting stale. And so that is one thing. The shifts, the motions, things like that, I do think that you're going to see that from him that will make it look different, where there'll be a lot of pre-snap stuff where you'll be like, oh yeah, there's a lot more eye candy stuff here that I do think that fans will enjoy watching the offense more. But in terms of just hammering down of this is what they're going to do on first down, this is what they're going to do in this situation, I don't think they know that yet. And the other part of it that's pretty big on it too is that when the ones go out there yesterday, Javonte Williams is the number 1 running back. Is that going to be the case come week 1? How much is he the number 1 running back? See, that's the thing that's different. Is he just the 1 running back right now because he's the veteran? When the linebackers went out there, it was Jack Sanborn and Kenneth Murray with the ones. Is that just because they're waiting to get Leofau up to speed? It's different when you use the first round, but you can put Tyler Booker out there as your 1 right guard because you took him in the first round. You take Genty in the first round. Genty's out there with the ones. You are not going, Genty, it's Javonte Williams' job. You got to beat him out for it. You can put them out there. But right now, they're just kind of feeling it out, So I don't know that we can 100% say what it's going to look like. But when you make that trade for George Pickens, your offense changes at least a little bit from whatever you thought it was going to be back in January, February. There's no way back then they thought they were getting George Pickens.
Yeah, I agree with that, and because of how impactful Pickens is, I also think that Schottenheimer does want to emphasize the run at least more than what McCarthy did, and the reason why is because more than even what he said, which he talks about the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball a lot, but even more than that, I mean, when you hire Clayton Adams to be your offensive coordinator and then you draft Tyler Booker in the first round, those are moves to help the running game. And I know Clayton Adams is offensive line and that goes in the pass and run game, but I do think that in general that number one, I think helping the run game is going to help the offensive line in general because offensive linemen want to run block more than they want to pass block. So I think if you can get Guyton and those guys being more aggressive off the line, it's going to help in general your pass game as well. So yeah, I don't think that we have a definitive answer, especially because the things haven't always. We can't say, well, they drafted Tyler Booker in the first round, so clearly they want to help the run game. If Ted McMillan was there, they were going to draft Ted McMillan in the first round, so it's not so open and shut. I think, but I do think Schottenheimer does have a little more emphasis on the run game.
And the run game, it will have to work because they're going to have to run the ball a lot because teams are not going to sit there and care about their running game when they play them early in the season. They're going to have to prove it. Why would you bring any extra guys in the box against a team that the running backs are Javonte Williams and Jaden Blue and Phil Maffa and Hunter Lepke when you have George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb outside? Your safeties are staying back. Why would you even think that you need to bring extra safeties down to help? Now, if they can run the football, then you have to adjust to that. But when you're going into games against the way this team's currently constructed, I don't know how you can bring down extra guys into the box right now or why you would. Now, don't get me wrong. If they're a first-round pick ended up being Genti, then maybe things change. But as they're currently constructed, I don't know how any defensive coordinator is looking at this team and that when they're about to go against this Cowboys offense and think anything other than like, well, yeah, if they can run the ball on us, we'll tip our cap, but we are not going to let them just throw it all over the place with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. We have to take that away. That's our Bill Belichick, 101 of what you do when you're facing a team. You take away their two biggest strengths. It's obvious. It's not even close. Their two biggest strengths are CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. You have to prove that you can run the ball before teams are going to come down and honor that.
Back in, and this again might not matter because it's a long time ago and it was a different roster. But back in 2018, when Shotty was calling plays for the Seahawks, they were 32nd in the league. This was his first year's play caller there. They were 32nd in the league in terms of pass ratio. They were 47% pass, 53% run. And they jumped up in year two to 27th in the league. Again, Marshawn Lynch and a really good defense. And then in his third year as OC for the Seahawks, they were 14th in the league, and they threw it 60-40. And that's, in the middle of all that let Russ cook talk, and there was definitely some meddling going on with Pete Carroll, or at least so it seems. I mean, there's been enough reports from Seattle people on that. So I thought it was interesting, though, because to see someone run the ball more than they throw it in the last decade seems highly rare, but it did happen in his first year as offensive coordinator.
I don't want to be disrespectful to these guys, but top targets, 2018, Doug Baldwin, Tyler Lockett, David Moore. The reporter. No.
Wow, from Dallas Morning News? Wow.
Hey, guys.
No wonder you retired.
CeeDee Lamb, and that is not George Pickens. Good receivers, but that is not CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. Sorry. Also, to your point, wait. Let's go back on the attempts for.
It's good enough to go to the Super Bowl, isn't it?
Whoa.
Am I wrong? What year did
I don't know that this Cowboys.
No, that was 2013 and 14.
Oh my God, I'm getting old.
And even when they did go to the Super Bowl, this Cowboys team, I don't know, they had the Legion of Boom defense, and I certainly know that they do not have Marshawn Lynch. Like, that's the other thing. Like, if you that offense, you're not even I shouldn't say wasting your time. That's the wrong way to put it. You're not even that interested in trading for George Pickens. If the running back is Marshawn Lynch and you have CeeDee Lamb, you probably don't need Pickens. You can probably do a move for maybe something else or maybe get another receiver, but I don't know that you need to get that level. It'd be great if you did, but I'm saying like your offense is already pretty good if you have that in place.
Yeah, no, yeah. And I was just finding out, his old other times he's called plays, in the NFL. Just going back to that. We know it's kind of a weird time in Seattle, too. They were coming off.
Let's just also play a little devil's advocate real quick here. You tell me right now, we've seen George Pickens not being pleased about not getting the ball. We've seen CeeDee Lamb in games not pleased about getting the ball.
Ooh, yeah.
You're telling me handoff, Jaden Blue, 2 yards, handoff, Javonte Williams next play, 1 yard, and they're not playing well, the rest of the team. You think everything's going to be just going great?
No, I think
those receivers, man, coming to next right now.
And I think until we have more confidence in the defense, I think they need to be trying to score 28 to 30 points to go get these wins. I mean, let's be honest. Like, there's some good things about the defense, but I'm not saying this is you're not going to win a lot of games if you don't score more than 20 points, I would imagine. That goes for any team, though, so that's a generic take by me. But, like, just looking at what we have right now, a little worried about coverage and things like that.
If they go get Jalen Ramsey.
A lot of problems will be solved.
Imagine Jalen Ramsey and George Pickens in training camp.
Oh, my God.
John is like, his face right now is so lit up.
But while you say that, in terms of like video content, George Pickens destroying Booth on like some throw from Joe Milton is going to eat just as well. I'm going to say this right now.
Yeah, you're right.
I like it. We need that, dude. We need that. And you know what? How about this? No offense to the great Cooper Rush. Kind of nice to have a young guy who kind of thinks he's a badass behind Dak a little bit.
He does. He does think he's a badass. I'll tell you that. And he's fun. He was fun to talk to. We chatted with him yesterday, and I agree with you, KT. I was gonna wait for the end when you asked if there was any other things that stood out, and I was gonna bring up Joe Milton and his demeanor in general. Complete opposite from Cooper Rush. I mean, literally the complete opposite. And I'm just talking about demeanor. I'm not talking about play on the field or throws or anything, although you can probably go with that too, because we asked him, or I think John asked him.
Hey, outside of them both playing quarterback in the NFL, what are their other similarities?
None. And
both played college football at colleges in Michigan.
Yeah, but here's an example, and sorry to steal your thunder here, John, because this was John's question here. But John asked him, what is one play that stood out from your game last year against Buffalo, the season finale? And he talked about how it was a linebacker or something, and he made a play.
Not a naked bootleg, yeah.
Yeah, on a naked bootleg, and then stood over the linebacker, and that's what stood out. That was like his favorite play. The Cooper Rush, if you asked him that, it would be like, yeah, this quick slant was a killer, and I made a throw in the right pocket in the right window. No, Joe Milton is very different, and there's a lot of flair that comes with him.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know how you could be as athletically gifted as he is and not be that way, just take it to your own life. Like if you woke up tomorrow morning and you had that arm strength and you had that, just like, I don't even need to warm up, I'll just go outside right now and do a backflip. Like his athletic ability and like the tools that he has are incredible. It's all about, like, that's why the game against Buffalo was so impressive, because a lot of the little like nuanced things that you want to see from a quarterback, he checked those boxes, like not making stupid throws. Like if something's not there, don't force a ball in, throw it out about, like he was doing like a lot of things like that. They were like, oh damn, this is the stuff that, that teams are looking for. But in terms of like just the raw athletic ability, like what you would do combine numbers, he seems like, yeah, he would be like, that's exactly what you'd want, but the other part of it, which is obviously, the other part of it is all of the stuff that made Tom Brady though. So he's got, that's the to add in,
Which Dak is, almost trying to channel, right? Just kind of in terms of the demeanor, and all that stuff. Like Dak's not going to give you a great quote most of the time, and things like that. But it is interesting because it is important. Dak is it gets as he's getting older. I think last year showed us with something like a tissue injury and something like that. You kind of go, okay, we actually do need this backup quarterback to be good. So I think there's more to Joe Milton than just like he's a fun guy. But I just think it's interesting to have someone new and fresh and just different. We needed to be different. We all knew that. Last year was boring. We all know that. What do you guys think about this Belichick thing? Come on, Sod.
It's weird. It is, when it started out, it felt like it was just weird. Now it's kind of like it's getting to a point where it's kind of troubling. I'm like concerned for his safety and his mental health and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's a wild ride. I think. Well, I'm curious to see how it shapes up when actual football gets going in August and stuff. But right now, it's crazy.
The hole in the shirt is what did it for me. That was when I was like, oh my, this is a kidnapping situation, isn't it? It's adult napping. The hole in the shirt.
It's also like it's easy. Like my whole life for the last 15 years has basically been covering the Dallas Cowboys. Okay. And like, obviously just being a sports writer and following sports and things like that. And you just see, like, especially when you're a kid growing up, how like you're so like such a fan of these guys, players, coaches, whatever like that. And it's like the older I get, the more I'm just like, a lot of these people are really good at the football thing. And like I gotta just give you one example. I'll take Belichick out of it. If you've ever seen any of these videos where John Gruden is just opening a box, you're just like, I don't know. He might have a tough time with anything else outside of football. Like, I mean, it just everyone just pumped the brakes whenever. And in a way, another one that I tie in with is that news that came out in the last month or so about the Michael Jordan is going to be doing some TV. I just think that this is going to turn into him saying some wrong things, going to turn into some memes. It's like, I like thinking of Mike as like where there's really not a lot of just, I like he left on the note that he left on, when you're around all the time, you're constantly saying stuff and doing things. It just opens up for opportunities for like, just the way I feel about Belichick, where I'm just like, man, when he was in New England, I was like, this is the greatest coach ever. And every day that's gone by since he's left, I'm like, really good football coach. That's probably, I'm good.
Yeah, KT, honestly, I'll turn that around with your guy, Brett Favre, because I watched the Untold thing on Netflix and same thing where and everything that we've seen him on Twitter and all that stuff and in the courts. But yeah, I had the same thing with Brett Favre. I was like, man, I wish he just left on, the 5 touchdowns on Monday Night Football and that's it. But yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Did you watch that, KT?
I did. Yeah.
So real quick, I want to get your thoughts on it, but I just wanted to say, like, I'm a big fan of Netflix. They just knocked it out of the park with so many things over the last 4 or 5 years. But I just felt like everything about that. I'm glad you watched it because I want to know what you thought on just like, I know a decent amount about all of that, but I don't know as much as you do, but I felt like everything was kind of jammed in. Like it almost could have, like, to not even get into the painkiller stuff. I just felt like it was very like, it was like a 15 chapter book. And it was like, we're going to spend a lot of time on chapters 1 and 2. Chapters 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 were maybe a half a page. And then we're going to go on, like, I'm just like, you're kind of leaving a lot. There's a lot more on the bone here, It's like, they were really locked in on the Jen Sturger aspect of it. And I get it. And that's what probably sells, especially in this, short attention span. But, the Favre documentary is a 3 or 4 part thing. And you do have to discuss that. And I think you have to discuss him growing up and all that stuff with his dad a little more too, which is not the most interesting thing, the Viking and stuff. But we all know stuff like Broadus worked with the Packers. Our good buddy Brian Broadus, Cowboys fans know him from over at 105.3 The Fan. He can tell you plenty of Favre stories, So what I was there's 2 things that really jumped out though. One, you don't see this played much, but you can spot it from a mile away when it is played. The dumb card. I didn't know what I did. I'm just a dumb country guy. Dude, that is another level. That's another level of cockiness. Like, I can get away with anything. I'll just play the dumb card. I didn't know what I was doing. Dude, he knew. The other thing, no one talks about this enough. How did Brent Musburger... Wait a second. times have definitely changed since that time. I would make the argument that I don't know if that documentary is even done if it isn't for the most recent Mississippi stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. The welfare
they're just doing that documentary, but as they're like, let's bring back what happened with Jen Sturger and then him jumping from team to team. I don't think they would even do, even though that, like you said, that's a big part of it. But like, I think the reason that they went into making a documentary was because they're like, well, this Mississippi stuff is wild. Like,
yeah. Well, the number one thing of all that, though, of this entire documentary, man, Brent Musburger, how did he not get Me Too'd faster?
Well,
like,
that's what
is the
that's
one
what I say about times being different. I'm not saying that like back then what Brett did and what Brett Favre and Brent Musburger did was fine. I'm just saying that things were judged differently.
Yeah, no, they absolutely were. I mean, but the one that we remember is Musburger with A.J. McCarron's wife, Catherine Webb, and he knocks over Herbie out of the studio with his erection. And
I was surprised that I never saw that video of Brett Musburger with Jen Sturger. That was
crazy.
Like, where did this come from?
But dude, Deadspin does not. Maybe they do, but they probably don't get her unless he called her out on TV.
Yeah.
Like,
my favorite part though was just because of the writing standpoint is that one reporter when he was like, "Yeah, my editor's like, we want you to write the story about Brett Favre being the good home man that he's got a daughter on the way or whatever like that." He's like, "Yeah, I don't write fiction." Like I could relate to that so much from just when you're just having talks with people about like, "Hey, what about this story?" or whatever. Nah, I'm not writing. I don't write.
That's
fiction.
not the one, pal. That's not the one. No, dude, I'm with you. I was, but I enjoyed it. It's fun. I knew all this stuff. The thing I would say
for being a kid that I also remember is that, like, when I first started like really getting into football, that was at the last few years of Don Mikowski, and so I was a fan, like obviously a Lions fan, but I knew that whole Favre story, and it was incredible, like what he did for the Packers, like, and just how he was thought of at that time. Like, I just think of like even after the fact that like Tony Romo was, growing up in that area, huge, like I get why so many young players were Favre fans, but you don't know all the other stuff. You're just seeing him on Sunday where you're just like, man, this guy, this is incredible. I've never seen anything like this,
Couldn't believe it. I bought my dad, there's this like picture. And it's Bart Starr, Brett Favre, and Aaron Rodgers. It's a big picture of them together, taking a photo. It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jesus, 2 of the 3 are not holding up well.
Aaron's having a rough go of it. I saw the Danica podcast. Yeah, it wasn't great.
The Danica podcast is interesting. That's enough to the Steelers go, God, I guess I will just run Mason Rudolph out there. Will Howard in week 6 probably. What are we doing?
I got a quick one since we're jumping around. I got a quick one for Saad here, coming off of last night's Stars game. What would be the equivalent of pulling the goalie after 2 goals? You're clearly Ottinger's your goalie. What would that be the equivalent of in a playoff game for the Dallas Cowboys? Do you think? Would you go as far as Dak, or is that too far?
No,
Dak throws 2 picks in a row on his first 2 passes. Do you pull him? Is it like that?
The only reason it's not like that is because Joe Milton is not Casey DeSmith, like a veteran guy that's been there. I think if Cooper Rush was still here, then I would say, yeah, it's like pulling Dak for Cooper Rush. But I mean, Casey DeSmith wasn't some young guy that you don't know anything about. Like, he had some solid games in the regular season. So that's the only reason. But I would say it's more like if CeeDee Lamb drops like 3 balls in a row and you just bench him, and then George Pickens is just your number 1, and you're rolling with Tolbert and Kevontae Turpin, and that's just how it's going. So I would say it's that.
Is there anything that I was about Jamie Benn, who now can't give you much, but he's been there forever. He's a top 3 player in franchise history. Like, what's the Cowboy equivalent to Jamie Benn? Because never getting it done, though,
As a person? Oh, sorry. Go on. Sorry, Seth.
Never getting it done. I mean, you can go anywhere in the last 3 decades.
For the Cowboys, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of top 3 caliber players, not top 3 actual, but like, top players, whether it's Witten, Ware, Martin, Tyron Smith, all these guys. Yeah, I mean.
It's Ben Witten. Jamie Benn's Witten. Oh, that's a good one.
opposite personality, but
yeah, well, the personality, I don't worry about that.
Hey, can you imagine though, Sod, if Jamie Benn, like this will crack me. I'm not a big hockey fan, but I obviously follow the Stars a little bit just being down here. But like, I'll be so annoyed if Jamie Benn does like TV or something after his career is over. And the only reason I say that is because I have heard stories. I'm not going to name the name of players, but talking to old reporters about like some people that have been on TV in the last 10 or 15 years, and they're like, that guy would never talk to us at all. And now he's got like a TV job, like it's not always the most talkative, like media friendly people that end up doing TV after.
There's something about hockey players, they don't have charisma. Like there's been one charismatic hockey player, his name's PK Subban, and he's the number one paid guy to commentate, it's just something about that sport. They just don't have that. I mean, even Gretzky and Messier, I mean, these are some of the greatest players of all time. Madonna, they just don't have that camera energy that you want. So
TJ
I'm very surprised if Jamie Benn got into broadcasting.
TJ Oshie was letting it hang out
that way.
Say
like
what?
That's the way they want the players to be.
No, it's
100%.
it's part of the culture, but I just think it's, exactly that part of the culture.
I talked to Tyler Sagan back in 2020 or 2021 when I was just starting to cover the team, and he started some like, I don't know if it was like some company or something about like dog toys or something like that. And I remember he told me like he got so much backlash from people just because he was doing something that wasn't just like stick and puck, basically. Like, and that's just doing something so small like that. So yeah, if they went out and started doing like basically essentially what Micah's doing right now, oh my God, they'd be ostracized from the brotherhood. So yeah.
So how do you think that they feel about PK Subban?
I think they're fine with it now because he's done and he's, everything is, he's not playing anymore. But like while they're playing, it's just, I think that's kind of like the code.
Because he fits with kind of doing a hockey show like the TNT NBA show, where it's not just, we're just going to give you highlights. There's going to be a lot more personality and a lot more opinion and stuff like that. So it's like, that is a good point though, Ken, because there isn't a lot of hockey players I can think of that you'd be like, okay, well, he'll be the next one. Like even listening to Connor McDavid yesterday after the game, I was just kind of like, damn, like this is the best player in the world. And he was fine, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like, I don't see him doing TV when he's done. Yeah,
we need like a Happy Gilmore type.
The flip side is I'll be surprised.
Just go to the NHL and just shake things up and tell it like it is. That'd be interesting to see. But
the flip side for me is I'd be surprised if Dak didn't do TV at some point. I'm not saying necessarily right after he retires, but I just see it coming so easy for him.
Yeah. Nah, I think he'd be pretty good at that. Are we go ahead.
I wanted to ask something Cowboys related before we get out of here.
Yeah.
What is the playlist energy like for Shotty? Does he have the music cranking out there? And if so, what's the songs?
Yeah, he absolutely does. It's been a huge difference. Like Jason Garrett did. You could tell Jason Garrett like left it up to the players and they wanted it rocking, and so it was. Mike McCarthy would during stretching, but once the practice started, man, there was not any music on. So Schottenheimer's definitely, it's been cranked up throughout. And I've been a fan of it because it's mostly hip hop. But like, while there's a lot of modern, like they still do mix in some Dre, some DMX, some of that like late 90s, early 2000s stuff. So it's been a good blend of both. But the reason why I say it's been mostly hip hop is because, Kent, you remember this, like when Garrett, like especially during like training camp, I remember he'd let different guys like play different songs. And so there'd be times at training camp where it'd be a Drake song and the next song would be like a country song. So it's not been like that. It's been mainly hip hop, but it's blaring to the point where, some people have asked me last week, like, they still doing the Here We Go. And I'm like, I can't even tell you because they're working on the far end of the field and with the music blaring, you can't hear it as well. Whereas when McCarthy's practice, you could hear it clean. And then when Schottenheimer was asked about it yesterday, he certainly made it sound like, they're not going to be doing the Here We Go anymore. And I was trying to listen for it yesterday, and I didn't hear anybody doing it. So I think that they're going to have their own cadence thing, but I think the Here We Go thing is gone, which is kind of interesting to me because people can sit there and say like, oh, who cares, whatever like that. But like, I'm just going to speak for people that aren't Cowboys fans. Like, I don't know if you guys get this, but like, that's a big part of what you're known about for like the last couple of years. Like, my friends that don't like the Cowboys, like, will tell me randomly, like, yeah, my kid's been running around the house all day going, here we go, because he heard it on TV all day watching the Cowboys game, stuff like that. Like, so you can dismiss it and think that it's like not whatever, but like that's like a big part of like what people think of the Cowboys the last couple of years.
Maybe that was a McCarthy thing, and that's Shoddy's way of being like, we're done with that. We're moving on. Maybe
it could be, but to John's point, like everything that the Cowboys do, even on the football side, to me always comes back to the non-football marketing side too. So, like, you know, for
It's crazy.
I would have thought, like, you know, if Here We Go is such a staple that Jerry says, like, hey, this is one thing we got to keep, like we need to sell these shirts, you know, and so yeah, if it has changed, which I think it has, that will be a little interesting. But you do have, when you're talking about Cowboys, you do have to talk about things differently than you're talking about the Detroit Lions or, you know, anything else.
So when they're doing stretching out. When they were stretching out, it used to be Garrett's songs. You know, he'd walk out there and be like, "It's a beautiful day. Don't ever let it get away." You know, or "Glory Days" by Bruce Springsteen was another big one that used to crank. So are there any songs that you know, like, oh, that's a Shoddy pick right there?
None.
Oh, cool.
None. This totally seems like this is what players and the coaches, the assistant coaches, where I am. No, I haven't heard one that I was like, yeah, this is something, I don't know, but I don't really know what his genre of music is. Could be a little bit of maybe he is the one that wants to hear some Snoop and DMX.
Get the scoop on that. We need either you or Saad to keep a Shazam going during practice so we can get a playlist going of all the songs. Because David Hellman used to do that, and he's not there every day anymore. So
one thing I was going to tell you, because Saad mentioned Jerry. So Micah hasn't been there this week, and so Jerry was at practice for a little bit. So myself and Clarence Hill waited him out when he was leaving, and it just looks so funny to me, like the way that this is such a PR move to do this. But so we went walking to try and get him just to get the latest on Micah's contract. And he's like, no, I got to go to a meeting. That is always the go-to, like that anybody can use. I got to go to a meeting. You know, it's like, do you really? You were just out here for 15, 20 minutes. But
it's May 30th. Do you really?
Yeah, what are you gonna really argue with? You don't have a meeting. No, I don't believe it. Show me your schedule right now. I mean, you can't really. All right, well, see you later. You know, but we gave it the effort. It just it didn't happen. So maybe that's a good thing. I mean, even Brian Schottenheimer thought it was funny that we were waiting him out. Like Schottenheimer's like, he's getting away, guys. He's walking pretty fast. You better get him. You know, so yeah, it was funny, but no Micah at OTAs. I don't know that's a huge shock. No. When Schottenheimer's been asked about it, he really puts a lot of emphasis on the voluntary part, even though everybody else is there other than no Micah Parsons, and then no Trayvon Diggs as he rehabs from his knee injury.
Mm-hmm. Okay, since it's May, the end of May, quick pop culture recommendation time. We'll be fast here. It's gonna be tough. This is gonna be tough. I do think The Studio is the best, my favorite show that's maybe been made in the last 10 years, just because it's fun and chaotic on Apple.
Like, did you really like that first episode?
I loved it.
I only got through the first one. I think you got to be big on what's his name to like it.
Rogen?
Seth Rogen.
Nah, keep at it.
I'm a big Cranston fan, and
keep at it if you're a Cranston fan.
Keep at it then, because
Cranston stays in it.
He comes back around in an incredible way towards the end.
All right.
Yeah, so
it's amazing.
Yeah. I've been tricked by a lot of people on and pulled into watching all of The Bear and really looking around after the first 3 episodes, like, wait,
where's the jokes?
Yeah. What is the good?
It's not funny.
What is everybody so blown away about this? Like, it's fine. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad show. The Bear is not a bad show. I'm not saying that. But the praise it gets, I'm constantly looking around. Like, I'm like, are we really? Let me use a sports comp here. Are we really going to act like Tyrese Halliburton is LeBron James in his prime? Like, yeah, he's a good basketball player, but let's not oversell this here. Like, it's good, it's fine, but like the awards it gets and how much people talk about The Bear, I'm like, oh, I don't know. What are they gonna come back into the kitchen and this guy's gonna be angry again. This is great, man. Where did these storylines come from? This is so deep. Oh my
Did you see season 2 yet?
Characters. I watched all of it. I watched everything that's out.
Oh, you watched it all? Okay, wow.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's not doing anything.
Back out in 2 weeks.
Coming back in a couple weeks. The most shocking twist I've ever seen on a TV show, and I'm not telling you guys this show, it is amazing, but I'm not telling you guys to go watch it. But the rehearsal is something you guys should at least read into. I think as journalists, okay, as reporters, I think you guys would be fascinated with the premise of season 2 of the rehearsal.
Okay.
And I'm just going to leave it there.
Nathan, for you, is way more John Speed. I will say that. And
way more
Speed.
John Speed is, as much as I just hated on how short and not well done I thought the Brett Favre thing was, American Manhunt, Osama bin Laden, incredible.
Ooh, I do want to see that.
Very good.
Netflix, right? Netflix?
It's like a 3-part series.
Also, if you're into movies, the movie Friendship with Paul Rudd and Tim Robinson is definitely worth it if you want some good cringe humor.
Yeah. So out of all your suggestions, if I can only watch one, what would it be?
The Studio.
That's the one
I
I've
watched the
been
first
actually
episode.
thinking about doing it.
Yeah, The Studio's it's very good. And it's fun. It's not cringy
thing, and I was just kind of like, I'm not really in. This is not that fun.
That's a very small part of the whole season. It's like
I'm just telling you this because there was a lot of that being told to me about the bear, which is just wait, and I'm just like, so I'm still waiting here. Like, what are we doing? Like, so
I would say give.
try.
The Bear's different. The Bear's a drama. It's a slower pace.
Are you sure about that, KT? Because I'm pretty sure it's mopped up in Comedy Awards for some reason.
Yeah, they've got a loophole there.
I would say this, even John, you could watch just the last 3 episodes of The Studio and see if you like it, and then go back and watch the others.
No, he can't. He needs to watch it in order.
Okay, fine.
They cast the Kool-Aid movie. He has to see that episode.
Okay.
That's a good one.
You guys ever see that?
I mean, they're all good, but the last 3, I think, are like, John would be very into them.
Just 30 minutes.
You know what? When they started talking about the Kool-Aid thing, you know what it made me think of is, have you guys ever tried to get through that Jerry Seinfeld Pop-Tart movie?
Oh, it's awful. Oh my God. I had to quit. You know they're making a Whack-A-Mole movie?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they're making a movie about Whack-A-Mole. They're perfectly making fun of what is actually happening with the movies.
The Pop-Tart movie is just a case of them Netflix asking Jerry, what do you want to do? I want to make a Pop-Tart movie. Okay. But it's not like Pop-Tart trying to make a movie.
I also kind of felt like those also, and Jerry can get any comedian to be in here.
Yeah. They're like, how much money do you need? Well, I'm going to cost $50 million because I'm going to write and direct it. So
it's
plus
lazy.
I want to get Melissa McCarthy, I need over $100 million. I think it costs literally $100 million.
Like John, I think you'll appreciate this. The Studio, every shot is a one shot. Like every shot is a tracking shot.
Yeah.
So I've heard a couple podcasts of Seth Rogen talking about how to go about it as a manager as well, because he's he's one of the directors of if someone messes up their line and it's a 7-minute scene here and someone messes up their line in minute 2
insane.
Of how to balance do I end the shot or
somebody
do I
messes
let it
up
go?
a joke,
You don't want to kill their
forget
confidence.
something, you kill the entire sequence and have to go back. I mean, there's what's that show on Netflix that Adolescence that literally is, I think each episode is one true one shot. The Studio, I think they stitch it together a little bit with 4 or 5 takes for an episode, but it's still the timing. It's
a drama or it's a comedy.
It's a comedy.
It's a comedy. The Studio.
We're talking about Adolescence, though. I didn't watch
Adolescence
that.
is a drama.
Definitely not a
That's
comedy.
what I'm asking about. To me, it's way harder. It's way, way more difficult for me to believe that you can do a one shot in comedy because it's so difficult to get everybody. I mean, just all these Office outtakes that Saad and I will talk about.
That's why you need to watch this show then, because it's like watching a Broadway play with the amount everybody's hitting their line at the same exact time. The emphasis on the joke has to be perfect. It's how much did they rehearse this? Holy crap! It's Ike Barinholtz sticks out for that exact reason. His delivery on every single line is so dead on that he carries almost the entire show with like just anchoring like his dialogue and everything. Check it out, John. You'll love it.
You'll love it. Ride it out.
We're running overtime here, KT. You got to go.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I got to go to work now. Hey guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for continuing to do good work. Give me some articles to read about the Cowboys. I really appreciate that. It's good stuff. Keep it going. We got OTAs next week, right? Keep it going next week.
One more.
For Saad Youssef. For John Machota. Again, go follow the work volume on Twitter, X, and all the places. Kent Garrison. I'm Kevin. And we will be back next time on the One Star Cowboys podcast. We love you. Have a good summer.